One of the most excruciating experiences for me is to feel stuck. You know that feeling where you want change, you want something to happen. You might implement some actions and everything falls flat and nothing seems in alignment. I'm going to show you how to get unstuck by connecting to what Carl Jung described as the God within you, your true self with a capital S. Because when you connect and listen to the self, life turns up and you get turned on. And this is not theory, this is not academic insights, this is real life. And here's a real life example of what that looks like. At one time, I felt stuck in Denver. No offense to Denver, but I had moved there to go to graduate school. It was a 2-year program. My classmates, my friends, had completed the coursework and their thesis in 2 years and left me. I stayed back another year to complete my thesis and I felt alone and stuck. Then I graduated and felt alone and stuck some more because I didn't know where to go. I had no prospects. What's next in my life? You know, I thought some great new beginning was going to happen for me, and that's not the way it worked out. So one day I was doing this mundane task of folding my laundry, and the thought entered my mind, let's move to San Francisco. What? I would love to live in San Francisco, but how am I going to do that? I mean, it's very expensive there. I'm a poor graduate student, you know. And my ego got all over that. We're not doing that. You got to get a job, and the job has to meet all this criteria, and on it went. But yet I knew how I could go to San Francisco. I could go as a travel nurse. I was a nurse. And my ego didn't like that. We wanted to be done with nursing, and that was my ego vision. But we ended up getting a travel nurse position. I say we, everything on board in my mind. All my characters in there. We moved to San Francisco. It was wonderful. I had the time of my life. It was very lucrative for me. I made new friends. One of those friends, we went on vacation in London together, and I ended up meeting somebody and had a passionate love affair in London and ended up moving to London a couple of years later. So this whole life unfolded by me listening to the prompt that was given to me while I was folding my laundry. Because the thing with the God within you, the self, when it gives you guidance or a prompt, oftentimes it's a feeling, you feel it, oh yes. And so I got turned on quite literally with a passionate love affair in London by listening to the prompts of myself. And so when the self gives you prompts, it's never prompting you over a cliff. You know, somehow the path always works out, but the ego gets involved and starts chattering away on why this is crazy, dangerous, it doesn't fit our plan, all of that. And look at the life I would have missed had I not listened to that prompt. So when you're stuck, you're probably going to get a prompt or have prompts, and your ego is going to wrestle with that. Follow it instead. Another way to listen to the self is through dreams. Before I went to San Francisco, I had a dream that I was in an apartment with this girl in San Francisco, and she had the most beautiful blouse on. And I wanted to be the girl wearing that blouse. I had to adopt that identity within myself of someone who could take on the clothing of the girl who lived in San Francisco, so to speak. The clothing was symbolic. And I'm glad I did. And also while I was in San Francisco, I met someone who was also a nurse from the United Kingdom, and just knowing where he was from started a fire, like, oh, you know, I felt it. You feel something that is going to be significant later. So then when I had the opportunity to go on vacation, the fire was already lit, and I chose London ended up meeting somebody, etc. So you follow those inner, like, oh, because you get turned on when the self is talking to you and giving you guidance. Another way the God within speaks is through synchronicities and messages. And like the fellow nurse I met from the United Kingdom, there was a message in that for me. I felt it. You feel the message. You don't necessarily logically understand it and interpret it. And then the synchronicities also happen when the self is in the forefront. When you're paying attention to the self, synchronicities increase, encounters that are meaningful increase, and the axis shifts from the ego having the vision, being on top, here's what you need to be doing, to the self in the flow, giving prompts, you're turned on, life is turned up. For me, when it first started happening, when the self was giving me prompts, that axis went, the ego is like, no, no, that doesn't fit the vision, fear, etc., the deal. But you shift that axis back and just be in the flow, like whatever, I know I'm guided. And when you have a few experiences like that, where you listen to the prompt because you feel the prompt, and it works out, it's easier to do in the future because your faith is now there. You aren't being led astray. So if you feel stuck, just surrender to where you are right now. Yeah, I was stuck in Denver. What can I do? Okay, I'll go do my laundry. Boom, life got turned on and turned up for me, and I felt it. So I hope that helps you if you're stuck. Until we see each other again, sweet dreams.